Hare Krishna. So the topic for today is it's everlasting and joyful. It's actually, yeah, since most of us are familiar with the Bhagavad Gita, most of us. So this is actually a summary of chapter 9 of the Bhagavad Gita. But I just wanted to get started with we've known Bhagavad Gita to be what? Fill in the blanks. So it's instructions of Krishna, but we've known it to be like we say it's a philosophical treatise, or we say it's a scripture, or we say it's like a book of knowledge. We say things like that about this, but it's probably not the case that we completely miss the point, but it's also a conversation. It's actually a conversation, not also, and this conversation is it's flowing, and just like restricting it to chapter by chapter, looking at it just like 18 chapters. Thank you for thank you for enlightening us in the right way. So looking at it as chapters, one after the other, sometimes just make it seem like we have the conditioning, right? We have gone through an academic curriculum for years, and we just think about it like syllabus, textbook, chapters. How many chapters in the syllabus? Chapter 1 to 5. What is there in 1? Okay, introduction to organic chemistry. Okay, I'm just like throwing something. And then chapter 2 is aldehydes. I think I jumped, but whatever, you know it. So it's like that. But this Bhagavad Gita is actually Bhagavad Gita, which is the song divine, song of the Lord. And it's a conversation. It's not just like musical performance. We all know that it's not a musical performance. It's a conversation that's flowing, and so this is like a revelation that the Lord is actually He is slowly revealing about Himself. He's slowly revealing about His relationship with not just with Arjuna, but with every one of us, every living entity. And he just uses this, the context of this great battle that's about to happen, and he uses his friend Arjuna's situation, his psychological state of mind, to carry out this conversation, which had it been happening in a very casual, in a very casual setting, would probably not have had the same kind of impact, because all of us, we may not have been in a battle, maybe some of us have, but we understand that death is a real threat in a war, and there is absolutely every chance that people will lose lives in a battle. So that it's a very stark setting there, which Krishna is using to have this conversation. Okay. But his conversation starts at a very sort of a superficial level, talking more in terms of duty. You're talking about ethics, but this is your duty, Arjuna. You just cannot run away from your duty. Say, I'm not going to do this because I don't see any benefit here. There is nothing I don't see there is anything in it for me over here, so I'm going to just wash my hands off. So that starting from there, refuting that all the way to, we discussed it a couple of weeks ago, how he goes to having Arjuna completely become aligned with him out of his own accord, not by coercion, or not by, definitely not bribing him for anything like that. So so I just wanted to start with this idea of we all have had an experience of relationships, all of us here, and how would you imagine you had a friend who really and truly cared about you, not because of what you were able to give to them, okay, not because of how smart you were, how wealthy you were, how materially successful you are, but just because you are willing to be their friend, just because of who you are, like who you just naturally are. Have you had experience of that sort of a friendship or a relationship in your lives? Let's start with that question.
So what's the question?
The question is that have you ever had an experience of a relationship? It could be a friendship, as Mataji has had, where a person is wanting to be your friend just because of who you are, not because of what you can necessarily give to them in material terms, what they could get out of being associated with someone like who's like a very high flying person, a big shot, but just because you are there, like you are there as a friend for them. Have you had that experience?
Yes.
We all have had that experience at some point in time, and not to mention that this is something that has nourished us. This is something that has given us confidence to go on, keep going. We've received support. So in this, as we said, that this is like a summary discussion on chapter 8. So this is what chapter 8 in the Bhagavad Gita is really about. Saying that there is a very confidential aspect of the Lord, but it's not confidential. It's not confidential because it's anything very esoteric or very complicated, but it's because it reveals what is there in the Lord's heart, where his loyalties lie, and who he is as a person. Because when we look at a Bhagavad Gita, our idea was, okay, this is something that's like being spoken by someone who is like just absolutely beyond our reach. We cannot even fathom who this person is. Okay, but actually in the 9th chapter, he's making it very easy for us to understand about him, to approach him, and just have no inhibitions about doing that. We have this, many of us, like including me, we have this inhibition that maybe we are not good enough, maybe we are not qualified enough, maybe we do not have enough pious credits, we are impure. These inhibitions we have, or maybe there are like infinite number of living beings, living entities, and you know what, like I like to follow this path of bhakti, but I know that the Lord has so many devotees who are like in the Brahma Samhita, Brahmaji says that there are thousands of goddesses of fortune. We are talking about like Lakshmis who are willing to serve the Lord 24 hours a day. Well, time doesn't really matter, it's inconspicuous, but they are always available at his beck and call. So where do I stand a chance? Like there are devotees like Arjuna, the Lord is like directly speaking with him. Okay, on the battlefield of Mahabharata, there were Bhishma Dev, who we know he's a Mahajan. He renders incredible services to the Lord in the material world. So where do we stand a chance? Maybe we are not important enough to the Lord, but the Lord is giving us that assurance that is not the case. There's only one thing that I am looking for. I am looking for your love. That's it. And that is the most confidential aspect. There is nothing esoteric about it. So just move forward. So every time I like to have this slide because I always want us to begin with a premise or begin with a question and take it till the end and make sure that at all points, right, all the way to the end, that we have our what is in it for me clear. So I asked this question about a friend, or a companion. What sort of, what have we appreciated about that relationship, where this person has been your friend, just accepting you as you are. So is it possible to have a friend like that who you can have forever? Now that is the catch, that the friends we have had in our lives, they may be eternal living entities, but in our experience, we will probably not be able to connect with them after we leave this body or after they leave their bodies. But here's the thing, we are always looking for, in this realm of existence, in any realm of existence, we are always looking for a place, or I will say a person, in whom we can repose ourselves, repose our faith, some foundation which will not change, which will never change. And that is the foundation that we are looking for, but it's very hard to find. Even the best of our friends, best of our companions will, after some time, they will not be around. Either they will not be around or we will not be around to have exchanges with them. So that what is the kind of friendship that we are looking at? So again, like, since we are talking about chapter 9, coming to chapter 9, there are a few things that have happened before this in the conversation. With sort of, I'll just begin with the dilemma that Arjuna had, where he was not sure. He was shirking away from fighting this battle because he was very, very wary. He was very, very skeptical that this is probably not the right thing to do. He would have to raise arms against those who have, nurtured him, nourished him from his childhood stages all the way till where he is now, and he would have to kill them. Most likely, he would be killing them. So he was very concerned about that. So he asks Krishna about, is this something that I should be even doing? And that's why Krishna, at one point when Arjuna just says that, Krishna, I am confused. I am confused about my duty, because it is absolutely understood that I have to act. But whether I should engage in the battle or I should be just leaving the battle, staying in a state of suspended animation, not doing anything, tell me what to do. So Krishna actually begins this conversation saying that there are, you may be worried about accumulating bad karma, okay? But just think about it, that there are people who deal with this situation, not this particular situation, but having to act or not act in 3 or 4 ways. So one kind of people are I will just not work, okay? I'm not going to engage in any kind of activity. So as Newton's third law goes, every action is equal and opposite reaction. So no reaction begotten. So Krishna says that, you cannot just check out of life, because dude, you have to do something to live. So you cannot just say that wash your hands out of any activity. So that's extremely impractical. So another type is those who are more philosophically inclined. They say, okay, let's see, what is really in my control. As I act, I act to achieve certain objectives and goals. I think that I can achieve goals because I am planning for it. So maybe there is control that I can exercise. But all the time, these people are observing. They see that there are so many things that people plan for, and they're extremely frustrated because those don't turn out the way they thought it would. So what they do is they try to they try to understand who really is in control of them, and that's when they will meditate, they will sometimes speculate, they will try to philosophize, and they will come to that understanding of realize that, oh, okay, so actually there is a distant controller. I'm only able to control a little bit, maybe even very, 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 very on the fringes. So that controller is the supreme person or the supreme power, and amongst them there will be some more people who will go a little deeper to find that person who is sanctioning every word, who's sitting in the heart. As the super soul or Paramatma as the Lord who is, within our heart, who is guiding our direction, the direction. But then there is one category who are the really smart ones, who from the very beginning, from the very onset, they know that Krishna, and they know Krishna, and they simply offer all their work to him. So which we also call Karma Yoga. They don't wait for any kind of philosophical realization to dawn upon them, because they already have that understanding. And individuals are rare, but at the same time we hear about them a lot throughout scriptures, even in the Bhagavad Gita. So they just act with considering Krishna being at the center, and they are called the devotees. So this is a stage he sets in the beginning, because this is where Arjuna was getting stuck, that what are my options? He has given him the most dull option or the most impractical option. He has given him the most practical option, the option that leads directly to him. So now at that point he's again like giving, he's being that friend, confidant, teacher at the same time, helping Arjuna. Okay. Now, going forward a little bit, so there is something very beautiful that Krishna is telling. He's saying that now again, this conversation is flowing. I'm not really going like chapter by chapter like that, but I'm just like coming on to progressing how this confidential knowledge even gets revealed by the Lord, and what leads to that. So he says that, there are, Arjuna, there are many kinds of people who are looking to improve their situation in life. So there are, among them, there is a rare group of people who are actually looking for me, but they have some motivations in looking for me, and those are like 4 kinds of people. So one of them is those who are like, distressed. So people who are like frustrated with life, frustrated with, things not working out, and they just approach the Lord Krishna, I'm suffering, please help me. Okay, that's great. They're approaching the Lord, and he likes it. He likes it that way. And then there's there are people who are just like, curious. I want to know more about you. I want to know about your creation. How are you able to hold all these planets in orbit? What is the centrifugal force? So they want to understand Krishna. They want to understand the powers of Krishna. So they're curious. Okay, and then there are some people who are like, I want something. Okay, hence. This is pretty common that an examination, get me the certification, and I'll be offering you 50,000 coconuts, like things like that. We're quite familiar with that. Okay, and then there is one group of people again who want to know Krishna deeply, who want to understand Krishna very deeply, not just like from a distance. So they're not like, they want to have a relationship. They want to have a relationship with the Lord. And Krishna says, okay, yes, they are the ones again, the smart group of people. But the fact is that he says that all of them are dear to me. He does not reject anyone. Those who want to make a connection with him, relationship with him, he gives them the intelligence by which they are able to come close. Okay, and those who want to just know him, get just like who are curious, he gives them ability to cultivate a lot of knowledge. The scientists would fall in that category. And then those who approach him because they are distressed, okay, you have approached me, I'll grant you something that will turn your fortunes. So I was just hearing a class, and this was by His Grace Hari Pasha Prabhu, is a very, very profound speaker, and is a very, very profound scholar and speaker. So he was saying that many people have become very rich after coming to ISKCON. And that caught my attention. He said that the holy name is very powerful. Okay, it's a little bit of a detour here, but it's I thought it would be important. The holy name is very powerful. The holy name can grant anything. And so we've got to be very careful about what are we asking for from the holy name. And that was his point. His point was more like, if you approach the Lord wanting a lot of wealth, And if the Lord thinks like, that is, in the short run, that can keep you grounded in His service, He just gives it to you. But that's not the ultimate goal to aspire for. So, and then there are people, and out of the, so this select group of 4 categories, there are people who are not able to approach the Lord. So we see so many examples like that. Even in our own lives, in my own life, there was a point when I could not accept the Lord. And so he says, interestingly, that, the deal that's going on with them is like, they're just too caught up in liking something, not liking something. So they have this mentality that's like, they have this envious mentality. I want this. If I don't have this, then I'm like, they become jealous. So those kind of people, they are so caught in this duality, they are not able to approach me for that reason. It's not necessarily that they hate me. Okay, that's not always the reason, but anyways. So about the four kinds of people, and then Krishna's, the conversation takes slightly a different turn. Going forward, he says, okay, like, so who really am I? He makes a very startling statement. He says, of nowhere, he says, I am the taste in water, the light in the sun, the sound in the sky. So this is very strange because Krishna's first introduction to himself begins like that. And we learned that that's not really a very common way in which you hear people introducing themselves. The taste of water, taste of light in the sun. So he says that, to start setting the stage for that companion who is going to be unfailing, who we can repose ourselves, our faith completely in. So he begins creating the foundation that I am everywhere, like an invisible thread that holds the pearls of this universe together. So there is anything that you look around is actually being supported by me. So that's like the first. So generally the faith, or the lack of faith, is because we think that if we trust a person, okay, and something were to happen to us, would they be able to support us? That's one of the considerations that we make when we, want to surrender to someone, or we want to repose our faith in someone. Okay, so Krishna begins saying that everything rests in me, yet I am not in everything. So it's not that I am dependent on anyone or anything, but everything, in order to manifest, in order to sustain, is dependent on me. And then he goes forward, he gives an example. He gives a little bit of a philosophical example where he says that, think of the sky, there is air everywhere. This is a very common example. It's in the pot, it pervades everywhere, but they say that the air is actually founded in the sky. Okay, it's like that is where it's to be seen, found as its resting place, so to speak. Okay, and then this picture we were learning in Bhakti Shastri actually. So, and that the scientists, their intelligence, their ability is also coming from somewhere. When we say God-given intelligence, it is really God-given. He says this in his conversation, that whether it's remembrance, whether it's knowledge, whether it's forgetfulness, I am the source of it all. And what you really understand as knowledge, I am the source of knowledge. Vedascha aham eva vedya. Vedanta krit veda videva chaham. So he says, I am the source of all knowledge. So the Big Bang happens, there is a theory like that, but the question is, everyone knows here, who caused the Big Bang? Okay, that is the point which, the people who are postulating such theories are missing out for several reasons. So, but all this he does, he gives the assurance to Arjuna and hence to everyone that all these things are happening around, everything is supported by me, but you know what, I don't get embroiled in them, I don't get enmeshed in them. The parallel here is that if we were to look for a companion who would be available like 24/7, or as soon as we want to approach them, they're available. It's usually not possible because everyone has their own life as well, and they have so many things to take care of. They have duties to fulfill, so they may just not be available. But Krishna says that don't worry, this is just happening. I'm not embroiled in them. I'm completely disconnected from. I'm detached from it. But it's just by my power these things are happening. So I still have time for you. We are all looking for time. So Krishna always has that. Okay. And then he says that how now not only am I supporting, I'm actually the center of everything. So he says it does not matter, in our lives, we do so many, we perform different kind of ceremonies, rituals, especially if you are from India, you would be more familiar with that. We pray, we do so many things. But he's saying that all these things that you do, actually I am the benefactor of these. The idea of doing this is also coming from me. Okay, the ritual, the means of doing it, and the one who's receiving it, it's all me. So he's pretty much like the father of the universe. He says, I am the mother, I am the, who's sustaining everything. So why would you worry? Why would you worry? What will stop you from approaching me? And then he says that, the food that you eat, oh God, give us our daily bread. All that, the rain, the heat, the harvest, everything is coming from me. People seek immortality. At least we have that desire to be immortal, because we are actually truly immortal. What is actually changing is that surface layer that we have on top of us. So I think this desire to be immortal is also me, and death, I am also death personified. So I'm the beginning, middle, end. So it says that there is just there is not a square micrometer of place that is devoid of me. So, but he says we're talking about spirituality. He says that matter is different from spirit. Matter, combination of basic 5 elements. Spiritual energy, Krishna has so many different kind of energies. Everything, aham sarvasya prabhava, I am the source of everything. Whether it's whether you're looking for the subtle matter, or you're looking at gross elements, everything. Just there is no place that's devoid of me. But he says that so there are different people have options. They have options to seek out different goals, different destinations. So he talks about people approaching demigods, or those individuals or those living entities who have been designated by the Lord to help with the cosmic administration. So people approach them, and he says that if you are approaching these different demigods for different kind of benedictions, like Indra for rain, you're offering oblations to the sun god, all that is fine, but where do the demigods get their power for bestowing benedictions or giving you some benefits? So that is also coming from me. So what Krishna says is that if you accept it, if you understand this as a fact, then eventually you are not going to just be happy with resting at these places, in that map where I am the ultimate goal, and you're trying to get to a point where you will not have to be constantly worried, constantly anxious. You're trying to get to a point where you will receive everlasting satisfaction. But in between there are these temporary stops, which are these benefits that you get when we approach demigods, just getting to heavenly planets, or just accruing a lot of good karma, which eventually leads to heavenly planets. So what you're essentially doing is that you're just stopping there thinking this is all in all, and just a lot of time is wasted there. But for someone who is trying to approach me, one who knows that I am the goal, they just come back to me, because they do not take those temporary stops as they don't fall into that illusion that this is all in all. So it's like that the map example. You keep stopping at the rest stops along the way, thinking that's the destination. So demigods are really like those rest stops. So here, and he states that ultimately they are also getting their sanction from me. So what he is doing is slowly he's trying to get all of us, I hope all of us are understanding this, slowly get disenfranchised with looking left, looking right, looking up, looking down, but keeping our goal on Krishna. Because he's just slowly covering every base, and he's revealing the position or the capability of those who are assisting him versus he himself. And now we come to one of the most beautiful verses in the entire Bhagavad Gita, where he makes this amazing promise. And he tells that this promise, he makes the promise, asks his dear friend to boldly declare that. So he says that I carry what you need and protect what you have. Again, what stops us, what gives us, what's a stumbling block in our advancement? It's lack of faith. We think that maybe will the Lord really take care of me? What if I surrender and he does not pay attention to me? So he says, just you tell, you make this statement that I will protect what you have, and I'll give you what you need and protect what you have. So just think about this. The Supreme Lord of everything, he's making a personal promise to us. That you just focus on me with love and I'll handle the rest. So the common factor is love. That is all I'm looking for. You have desires, dovetail your desires to satisfy me. And there is no loss or diminution in this effort, which we'll come to later. And the question is that when he says this thing that I am, you declare, Arjuna, you declare, why does he, not say the same thing about those people who worship the demigods? Like, if we are worshipping, say, any demigod for benefits, why doesn't he say that the same result will accrue? That, your faith will never be disturbed. You will get what you need, and what you lack will be preserved. That's because there is this transactional mentality when we approach the demigods, because it's the fundamental reason why we approach demigods is because we want something, a benefit, a quick benefit. And once that is done, and we've seen so many examples like that, once that is done, okay, like you stay where you are, I stay where I am. So there is really no love. There is, it's transactional. Even if we say that, I love Lord Ganesha. Okay, will you surrender to Lord Ganesha? That's a question we have to ask ourselves. And even if we were to surrender to Lord Ganesha, what are we really looking for from that surrender? More material benefits, or are we looking for eternal service to him? So that's a question which is something that we should ask ourselves. What are we really going to even get by doing that? So he's all for that loving relationship, not transactional. And then so he says this worship, how does this worship look? We see we go to temples and sometimes we get overwhelmed by the incredible amount of sophisticated way, or in a very elaborate way rather, of serving, doing the artis very, very precisely, and chanting the mantras and offering huge amounts of offerings, bhoga, flowers, very, very, very pompous. So he says that is it really that? And also, of course, there are Brahmins required who have that verve in being able to chant mantras so immaculately, have a lot of knowledge, that sort of thing. So he says that, is it that complicated? Do you really need to be wealthy? Do you really need to be educated, perform elaborate rituals? He says, not really. He says, this is he gives a very simple blueprint to be able to approach him. And he says that just give me some leaf, some fruit, some water, and start small. Okay, you don't need to start big. Start small, test out the waters, and see whether that works for you. So the Lord is so merciful. He's so kind. He's all about giving options. Okay, and He's all about helping His His part and parcels take small steps coming to Him. So He never makes it incredibly out of the reach. And He says all these things, this little bit of sacrifice that you can make will actually lead to something very, very magnanimous, which many of us will find it very difficult to fathom. That it will free us, as I have highlighted there, it will free us from all the bondage of karma that we have accrued, good, bad, and we become liberated. Most importantly, we will be able to come to Him. So that is the benefit that's awaiting, but it may be a little difficult for us to fathom that this liberation, how is that going to work? How is it like to be liberated? How will it feel? But if we just look around us and look at the state of the world today, it's definitely not great. It's nowhere close to good. Do we want to continue in this in this imbroglio, in this situation for I don't know for how many lifetimes? Even in this lifetime, it's so burdensome. Isn't it even worth considering what the Lord is saying, the options He's giving, and give it a shot? So when I came into bhakti, I came into this path, I always thought of it as an experiment. And actually, even today, I do think of it like an experiment, so like a seeker. So I'm looking for something higher, something better, because I'm not satisfied with the status quo. There is nothing esoteric about it. I mean, even if you look at it from a purely gross material perspective, we'll see that it's not a great place. There is just, you look at every corner of the world, whether it's let's not even talk about Gaza and Palestine and all that, but every part of the world is just, there is so much anarchy going on. So again, this thing about, water, leaf, fruit, flower, that's fine, but many of us here, we live in Carmel, we have huge homes, we have many cars. Leaf, fruit, water, is that all that we can offer to the Lord? But actually, he says that, just whatever you do, offer everything to me. And hey, by the way, he says, each and every time we make an offering to the Lord, like the offering is here going on right now, hey, everything He gives back to us. At least I have in my lifetime never experienced a situation where we offered a plate of bhoga. I wish that happened, and it was gone. It's never happened. So the Lord gives us back everything, but He gives us back His mercy. He gives us back, His mercy, which will actually purify us, which will actually bring us closer to Him. So where Krishna is actually now, he's beginning to even. I'm so sorry for the font being really small, but I'll read it out anyways. So then in this chapter called Confidential Knowledge, he says that, okay, you know what, everyone in this world that we see, other than the extremely elevated pure devotees, there is one thing that is very commonly seen as envy. Okay, and this envy is because I have something, you have something which I don't have, but I have none of that. Okay, and hence, you can be assured, I'm not biased. I am equal to everyone. Okay, so this is another thing which can pique our interest. can at least get us thinking, get us motivated to approach the Lord, because He says that I am equal to all, but there is some vulnerability that He also shows. He says, but Arjuna, I have to tell you something, that those who worship me with devotion, I am more inclined to them. It is just very, very understandable psychology, and the Lord is not bereft of that, or the Lord, it's everything actually comes that we have is coming, the qualities are coming from the Lord. So he says that however, who worship me with devotion, they are my friends and I am their friend. My relationship is different for them. But it's not that he rejects other people. It's not that he is vindictive towards those who don't approach him, or who approach him with some motivation. But he says there is a deal here. So that is the secret. And this is where he actually reveals his heart. Chapter 9 is the center of the Bhagavad Gita, in the sense that there are 18 chapters, so it's in the middle. And the most confidential aspect that the Lord reveals is this. Actually, there is nothing esoteric or inaccessible, that it doesn't make the Lord inaccessible. Because this is something common knowledge that, okay, so the Lord is equal to everyone. All that I need to do is, no qualifications needed, no high birth, no belonging to any gender. All I need to do is approach him with love, give him some love, and then I will become in that category of people who the Lord favors. So that is something to think about. And leading to in the next statement, he says, Arjuna. So he's speaking with Arjuna, but he knows for a fact that there will be millions and trillions of living entities who will be discussing this discourse among themselves and will be getting benefit of that. So he makes a very radical statement here. He says, even if someone commits the most abominable action, abominable as in sinful actions, unbecoming actions, but they are still trying to worship me with devotion, they should be considered to be properly situated or saintly. And when we use the word saintly, it automatically implies that someone who is spiritually inclined, maybe religiously inclined. But when the Lord uses saintly, he means my man. That is what he's trying to say, my man. So the clarifying questions that may come in our minds is that what if it's like what if it's accidental? Like they commit some activity by accident. That's absolutely all right. That's a no-brainer for the Lord. What if it's not accidental? Still it's all right. What if they do it repeatedly? The Lord says that eventually they will become righteous. Okay, but he does not discount them, or he does not completely shun them off. But Prabhupada writes in his purport that this word should not be used as a pretext for continuously committing sinful activities, and then just citing this word and saying that, oh, okay, the Lord said like that, he is accepting me. Well, the Lord may be accepting you, but the law will not. So we got to be careful about that. And Prabhupada writes that it is not the sign of a very high devotee if someone is thinking like that. Devotional service should actually result in purification and improvement of character. So and then at one point in this next verse he says that just stop going these clarifying questions. I'll tell you one thing, Arjuna. That's where he says that just declare boldly that my devotee, one who becomes one who is engaged in my service, they never perish. So there is something very revealing. He says that Arjuna, you declare, and the reason why he says that, I think many of us know. Anyone know why does he tell Arjuna to declare and not he stand up in the battlefield and declare?
Some observers don't understand Krishna as trustworthy.
Some observers don't understand Krishna is trustworthy. Okay, and why is that the case? I know many of us have some idea, or even if you don't, you can try and give it a guess.
His morals.
His morals, okay. God has morals, okay. And
He keeps breaking his word.
Hey, he keeps breaking his words. Yeah. So in this very battle, it will happen right after this conversation. And on the ninth day, I believe, when he is saying that Arjuna is not able to, he is shooting arrows at his grandsire, Bhishma Dev. There's one very elevated soul, and he's just not like, he's not showing fervor in attacking him. He says that, okay, if you cannot do it, your soldiers are dying, I'm going to have to do something about it. And wait a second, Krishna had promised he will not lift any arms in the battle. He says that if you are not going to do this, I'm going to have to do something. He lifts the broken wheel of a chariot and runs towards Bhishma Dev to kill him, to hurt him, to kill him. And then, you know what, like Arjuna is like praying to him, please, you promise that you will not break your vow, please don't break your vow for me. But he has already done that. And he has done that for other reasons. Bhishma Dev, who is his very, like, he renders incredible services to the Lord. He is his pure devotee. He had told Krishna, he had counter-challenged Krishna that, you know what, you say you are not going to lift arms and I'm going to make sure you do. So now, Krishna's own promise versus the oath, the vow that Bhishma Dev has taken. Which one to protect? Hence, Arjuna, go declare boldly. You declare boldly that my devotee will not perish. Because if I make the promise, I might break. People may think like that. But here is the pretext that you are one of those people, Arjuna, who also take vows, and at the cost of your own life, you will protect your vow. Hence, you go and tell, I will make sure that your vow is never broken. So, hence he says that. So the Lord is very unique. He has so many different, rasas, they say, like loving exchanges that he performs with his devotees. It's unfathomable and it's very sweet. So think about this. He's the Supreme Lord who is like the source of dharma. In Srimad Bhagavatam it says that dharma, or what is the concept of righteousness, let's put it like that. Dharma is deeper than that, but the concept of righteousness, dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam, is coming. It is coming from Krishna, and what he is telling is that I break my vows. So you do this deal, so people will at least trust you. Okay, they will know that to protect your vow, I am not going to. I'm going to protect your vow, what may come. So so when you say Krishna's devotee never perishes, people will believe it, so you go and declare it. Now, he further goes ahead and wants to bring down even other barriers. Again, dear devotees, we have to remember that Arjuna, the Bhagavad Gita is not just for Arjuna. This we always have to remember. This is for every one of us. Because why? We are his parts. We are not like isolated units of consciousness. We are his energy. We are very much. He will say that later in the conversation, that he will sort of like express his his some kind of like a little bit of a sorrow or lamentation that these are my part and parcels, everyone, and they're struggling so hard in this material world. So he does feel that. So he's saying that, to approach me, there is no restriction of, apparent things like birth, low birth, we say, so classism is not that common here, although classes exist everywhere in the world. But they are not called out distinctly. But we have this concept of, there is a section of the community that will always be interested in like transactional business, profit loss. There is one section of society who will be like laborers, who will be doing a lot of manual work, who try to make ends meet. And then there are some societies where women may not be given enough importance. He's saying, I don't care. I just don't care about these things. As long as you are somehow or other, he says, as long as you're somehow or other just thinking, like worshipping me, taking shelter of me, you will come to me and you will attain the supreme destination, which is being with Krishna. It is fun to be with Krishna, very much fun. You should just like read Krishna book Prabhupada has written these wonderful books. I'll talk about that a little bit later. But so what to speak of, and what to speak of Brahmanas, the devotees, all you wonderful devotees and saintly kings. For you, it's like, it's a given that you are going to be able to, you will be given that privilege because of the endeavors that we are putting in to serve and satisfy the Lord. So he's basically demolishing every excuse that we may have for not approaching him. Talk qualification, talk about, in the past, I did abominable things. I was smoking weed and, I did like so many, I don't want to talk about that. So I'm not even from a proper family, my ancestors were all butchers, my father was also a butcher. So those considerations he's saying out of the door, I don't care. So those don't matter at all. The only criterion again, my dear devotees, is are we trying to connect with him with love? That's all that matters. Again, that simple blueprint with which he's going to bring the conversation in this so-called chapter to a close. He says that after bearing his heart, he says, hey, just engage your mind in thinking of me, become my devotee, offer respects to me, worship me. What will happen in this way? I just promise you, that you will certainly come to me. So 4 simple things again. Think of him, keep him in your mind, become his devotee, accept that relationship. We are all looking for relationship where you can repose yourself completely and trust yourself completely. Offer respects, acknowledge who Krishna is. He's not he's not just one of us. Unfortunately, there are. He talks about that in the previous part of the conversation, that people sometimes they think that when I descend to this earthly realm, this material realm, I'm one of them. They feel that, because I'm acting like them, so they just reduce my stature to that level. But that's not the case, because he's already set the stage. Nothing exists outside my purview. I am the source of spirit, I am the source of matter. I am the reason why everything is held together. I am lending structure and strength, strong and weak nuclear forces. Nothing exists. Everything is Krishna's energy. And then worship him, make him the center. That's it. That's the blueprint he gives. Trusting Krishna, that's where, it's work in progress for many of us. Probably for all of us, it's work in progress. So that's like as I said, like the elephant in the room, that why do people in general hesitate to surrender to Krishna or to become devotees of Krishna? What could be the reason? And some of it is already there. So just think from your own lives. What was it, say, like X years before, and what is it now? What was really holding us back? Okay, anyone want to share, when you saw the devotees, what was really happening? Maybe in the beginning there was some resistance. So any experience like that you would like to share? I can share something.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so the first time, I have 4 minutes. Okay. Yes, Prabhu.
The first time we met you.
The first time, yeah. How was it when we, the first time you met devotees, immediately did you jump headlong into bhakti, or was it like curiosity, something like that?
Well, honestly, the first time I met devotees, I was like, wow, this is some good food right here.
Yes. Those are the hooks. Those are the hooks.
Yeah. But also, I would observe that they could answer everything. They had answers for everything, which is what I really like. At least that's what got me very much interested.
Interesting. Okay. And that's so important, because if our faith will only build when we ask questions or when our doubts are clarified. We have a lot of doubts, at least when we come in. I was very much mortified with the death, not my own, the death of my near and dear ones. Because I was always thinking I will be left alone. So I wanted someone to help me out of it. And when I heard this philosophy, it didn't dawn on me. I thought, oh, Krishna, Bhagavad Gita, it's something. But as I saw how personal this path is, the path of bhakti is so personal, that slowly got me into it. And there is also ways to accelerate this if we have the desire. Okay, 2 minutes. Okay. So some of the things we think about is, if I surrender and Krishna lets me down, then what? Who will I go to then? Because now I have reposed my faith in him. What if I give up everything and it doesn't work out? Possibly. And Krishna says that, okay, I can see things like I have a family, I have wife, kids, a bank balance, a house. These are very tangible. Okay, tangible benefits that I'm enjoying. But Krishna, it's not tangible here. So Krishna is completely cognizant of that. He says, this is honest, this is very human, this is real. So he is saying that is the reason why I am making these promises. And I am getting my devotee who has the experience to state this about myself. So if we take precedence, if we take some cue, we can take cue from the promises that Krishna is making. So what is it really that's at stake? Think about it this way. Like at this moment, we all are undergoing, this thing called life, this experience called human life, and we are struggling. It's not easy to get through every day. There are different kind of struggles we are going through. We have to work hard, we plan, and still things fall apart. If nothing, we get sick, relationships fall apart, people die, that's something real. So we are already struggling. So what Krishna is saying is that he anyways, again bringing the work topic back. You are subjecting yourselves to the results of work. You are, engaging in different kind of activities. Just do it for me and see the result. Keep me in your mind. And he's not asking us to become incompetent or becoming irresponsible. What he's saying is that just shift the center to him. That is essentially what he's saying. And in exchange, carry what we have, what we lack, and preserve what we have. Give us what we don't have, preserve what we have. So that is, some of the reasons why we are finding it hard to make that connection, create that relationship, is because of the experiences we have had in life where we've been, hurt or we've been let down. And Krishna says that, I totally get it, that's totally okay, but just see that if you are going to repose your faith in someone who is fallible, these kind of frustrations will happen. But I have already given enough, proof about who I am, about the universe functioning under my order. It's under my direction. So there is nothing to be afraid of. I got your back completely. So he's saying, try me, test me. As I said, start small and just offer me something with love and see what happens. If you're just even performing an experiment, say. And of course, the easiest way in today's day and age to connect with Krishna, to develop that relationship with Krishna, is through the agency of something very sublime, which is his holy name, which is in the form of a mantra. And I was thinking that maybe we can maybe take some questions, but we can also do a round of Hare Krishna Mahamantra if we have time for that.
Yeah.
Okay? So this mantra will help us connect with Krishna very deeply. And the more we are purposeful about chanting this mantra, takes how long does it take? If you're doing it on your own, maybe 7 to 8 minutes. If you're doing it in a group, maybe 10, give or take 1 or 2 minutes. It is very, very effective, very, very powerful. And it just makes us so much more, in tune with the Lord. So we'll chant a round of the Mahamantra, okay? But before that, any questions or comments or some, gaping corrections? Oh yes, Shri Radhika Mataji, Hare Krishna.
I just want you to clarify something. In which context Krishna is telling Arjuna that I will protect what you have
Oh yeah,
and I will whatever you lack.
preserve, yeah, preserve what
I will preserve what you have and whatever you lack. I will
give you what you have.
In which context?
Yeah, so the context here is, that's a very good question. That Yoga Kshemam Vahamyam, that verse. So, what is Krishna saying that he will protect? What is it that he's going to really protect? What do you think he's going to protect? We talk, no, not you, Mataji. I want the answer from someone else, not you, Professor. Yes.
The devotional creeper.
The devotional creeper. Does that ring a bell? Is it clear to everyone what a devotional creeper is? That's a very technical answer, but yeah.
Actually, I think the question is more directed towards what is Krishna says, I'll preserve what you have and bring what you lack,
Yeah.
or carry what you lack.
Mhm.
But before that, there is a phrase to those who, I think that's the context.
To those who are devoted to me, yes, absolutely, absolutely. So now we may think thank you for bringing up that clarifying point. That we may think that is it possible to bypass, I want to just enjoy the wealth, the luxury, and Krishna will just like ask Krishna, can you just like, as you said, give me what I need and preserve what I have, okay, or like give me what I lack and preserve what I have. So Krishna is not, he has already made it clear that any benefits that we seek on just the material level means like what we said, a 6-figure salary and position, where from which we get a lot of like we derive some sense of authority. So those kind of things are, if we are only limited to that, Krishna will not be so much interested. Okay, if we are limited, if we are doing that because that is our legacy, it's our duty, it's our profession, but our focus is Krishna at the center. That means we are devoted to Krishna. We understand those 4 blueprints, 4 things. We understand that everything is meant for his pleasure. Then Krishna will do everything that is required so that we can just keep coming closer and closer to him. So he will make sure that all the things that we need to keep moving towards him is in place. He is going to protect our faith. The faith is the thing that we needs the most protection, because it's very easy when things go wrong. It's very easy to just get flustered and think that I need to keep this aside now. But Krishna, with the more determined we are, with determination we approach him, or we want to worship him, he'll give us that strength. He'll give us that strength to move on. In our lives, in many of our lives, in devotees' lives, these things are very easily seen. Like there are many devotees here who have gone through very difficult challenges in life, but they have not given up their practices. And we see, just by seeing their lives, that how the Lord has orchestrated their advancement towards the Lord. And I will just say it very openly, I am one of them. Yeah, I mean, I'm not being proud or anything here, but yes, I will say that the Lord has orchestrated our lives in a way that we are able to use the time, the resources to serve the devotees, to serve the Lord. So, winded answer, but try to address. So that is the context is devotion is the thing. Devotion does not immediately mean showing lamps and doing a lot of elaborate rituals. It means simply how much do we really want the Lord? How much do we want to please the Lord? Okay, we have so many desires in our heart. Okay, are we dovetailing those desires in, okay, I want to offer something to the Lord. I want to offer, I love this. Okay, so I love pizzas. Okay, but I want to offer this to the Lord. Okay, that's like one aspect. The other higher aspect is, can I even find out what the Lord wants to have? That's a little bit, advanced. But we can always ask. We can always ask the Lord, someday, Lord, can you tell me, what can I make for you that will please you? That is the state that we are trying to get to. But yes, start small, take the steps towards the Lord, and the Lord will fulfill His promise. Okay.
There is, I will just.
Yes,
make a
Susan.
little comment on this. Actually, Lord, in this purport, Lord actually not promising to protect our material situation. Lord also not promising, protect even our bodies. Because in material world, our whatever we karmically deserve, we will have. Lord can even facilitate our life, but what He's promising to protect, because Arjuna asking him a question, Krishna, but what if I surrender to you and I won't be able to perfect my life? What's gonna happen? What's gonna happen next life? Will I come back? Will I be, what my situation will be? And Krishna in this context, He's promising, please do not worry. When you accept me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and you accept the path which I prescribe to you, there is 9 processes of bhakti on which we can develop this love for the Lord. Because often we say the word love, but we don't know the meaning of it, how to develop the love for the Lord. So He gave us prescription of 9 processes of bhakti. So He said, if you won't be able to perfect yourself in this life, don't worry. I will protect what spiritual progress, for example, 70-60% you made, I will preserve this to the next life.
Yes.
You will continue. And whatever lacking, if you, for example, 80% is there, Krishna can just facilitate the rest and take you back to God.
Back to
But
Him.
if it's severely deficiency, He will still preserve this 50-60%.
You will
And from the next life, you will start with the 60 and 70%.
61%, yes.
But when it comes to material situation, it's not always like this. It will depend on our efforts. Sometimes we have to work very hard to have certain particular thing. We have to develop character, how we behave. Next life will be better. So it's a kind of business transaction. But when it comes to
Devotion, spiritual life.
that's where Krishna is promising that. Do not worry.
Do not worry, wherever you are,
Yeah.
your bhakti. So He's actually literally says what Mataji is saying, that there is no diminution in this
Yeah.
path. Even if you have made a little progress, it can protect you from the most stark or the most
Greatest fear.
the greatest fear, which is like repeated birth and death. So yes, we are in this cycle of repeated birth and death, but we are just like slowly able to like going above that, that threshold where we'll be able to transcend that. As opposed to someone who is just interested in making the current state, materially they are trying to keep themselves in a good state and their families in a good state. They will continue to just sustain like that, life after life. Good karma, sometimes bad karma, going down, going heavenly planets. We want to get out of that. That's what Krishna says in this 3rd verse in this 9th chapter, that for those who are not devoted to me, unfortunately what will happen is they will not be able to transcend the repeated birth and death. This is the real problem, as Prabhupada so many times points out. So anyways, we are a little over. Can we
stay on this point?
Yes,
I'm just clarifying, Mataji. So, are we saying that Krishna is not going to provide the devotees their sustenance, the material
Of course
sustenance?
He will provide, of course. And Krishna always take personal interest in devotees' life, for sure. But also we see in saintly people, when we read Shastras, we see the saintly devotees, they mostly reject the material wealth. They're trying to be more detached from this material mentality of acquiring positions, acquiring wealth, acquiring fame, acquiring the devotees do not naturally, when they're more attractive to the Lord, then less they want those material possessions.
For sure.
But
for
for
sure.
people like we are, who are in the family life and have responsibilities, and also some laws and rules,
Yeah.
So we're bound by certain responsibilities. Lord will provide, he takes personal interest into what is life, and he can facilitate materially as well.
Very true, very true. I think my point was, when Krishna's making that promise, he's also saying that irrespective of what it is that you want, I will carry it for you. Because you remember there was that incident about, who was that? Jayadev, who was that? Who struck that
Arjuna,
bird out?
Arjunacharya.
Was that Arjuna?
Arjunacharya.
He did exactly that, right? He said, like, how can the Lord personally take care of my poverty? And he struck that out, and like, no, that's not what he really meant. He meant something else, something more esoteric.
Through agencies, yeah.
Right, exactly, right? You remember that?
Yeah.
And so he
He
comes
sends
back,
someone.
yeah, and then Lord personally comes,
Yeah.
bearing that whatever he needs,
Food.
and with these whip marks on his back, just to make this point. So I just wanted to highlight that.
The
This is-
example which I was
This
also
goes
giving,
very well with your theme for today, which is how unconditional is his love, right? Yeah. Okay. I think we can go with this.
so we'll have to go forward because we are running out of time, so we cannot do the chanting. But again, like, this dialogue that happened is life changer for not just Indians. By now we can understand, it's a life changer for anybody, and we want to, like, what we do is we try to share this knowledge with as many people as we can, changing the trajectory of people's life. That's what our devotees are entrusted with, that responsibility. So this month, like the next month, is called the Gita Jayanti month. We can say the Bhagavad Gita was spoken around that time. I don't know exactly, maybe you can correct me, Prabhu. But so we have this campaign going on. It's called Live to Give. Our lives are best utilized when we use it in the service of others. There is a term called Jiva Daya, compassion towards other living entities, which is not just on the surface, bodily level. Okay, yes, it can be feeding people, with Krishna Prasada, but the more important thing is helping them make this connection that the Lord is trying to help us make. Because not a lot of people will understand this. So we distribute Bhagavad Gitas, and so we, with folded palms, we request and pray that our community members come forward to donate, to do Shastra Dan. Now the way it works is, we have boxes of Bhagavad Gita, cases of Bhagavad Gita that we can, like, either distribute on your behalf, or you can purchase them and distribute amongst your kith kin, your friends. So yeah, that's the thing. But we also are going to have, actually we are going to have a yagya, a fire yagya, sacrifice for auspiciousness, wherein we are going to, like, offer your names, whoever are contributing towards Shastra Dan, and we will be, like, offering oblations in your name, as well as we will have some recognition as well for you. See, the recognition is, it's not like just a material thing that, oh, like, I did this. You're actually making a big difference in someone's life. So that is something that the Lord recognizes. We're just being instruments of that. So please consider that. If you want more details, I can talk about that. There are, like, multiple languages in which you can sponsor. We have ordered some sets already, which are on the way. So it's not just Bhagavad Gita, there's also Srimad Bhagavatam, and there's also Chaitanya Charitamrita, which some of you may not be so familiar with, but Bhagavad Gita definitely. One case of Bhagavad Gita hardbound is about $160. It has 16 books, so like $10 a piece. And then we have also softbound Bhagavad Gitas, which are, I think, like $130. Okay, and they have like 24 books. So please contact me. My name is Acharya Das. My number is there if you would like to donate. And whatever way you want, we can even, like, have them dropped off at your place if you want, or you can collect it from here. Whatever works. We will also send out a message in our WhatsApp group, like delineating all that we just said. So please consider that. And we have some very nice gifts like these same books, there's a Bhagavad Gita and some other books that are based on the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. It's a great time of the year to be actually like giving gifts, very festive time. So please consider giving books, these gifts of knowledge, transcendental knowledge. If you would like to like purchase them, please see any of one of us. And these make like excellent gifts. These have changed our lives. So we definitely want to help more people that way. So yeah, so that's where we will stop for today. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindhubhyev cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Ananta koti Vaishnavind ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare